Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 3 stories for you from the ProRevenge subreddit. You can find the Karma Stories podcast on every major podcasting platform, and you can also read along on YouTube. Find us there at youtube.com/@KarmaStoriesPodcast. Alright, on to today's stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Ebbleplant. Ex-wife deploys fake bankruptcy to avoid paying me. I ruin everything and get paid. After my then-wife cheated on me with her boss, we divorced. It was bad. I got the house and the kids. When our daughter was about 15, she needed special schooling. My ex-wife and I split the tuition for the first 2 years. But by the 3rd year, she told me she didn't have the money. Tax cheat, more on that later. And she asked me to loan her half of that year's tuition. I agreed and loaned her $14,000 at 0.5%. I gave her generous terms, no payments for 2 years, then 3 $3,000 payments 6 months apart, then a final payment of roughly $4,800. I added an acceleration clause which stated if any payment was 30 days late, the entire balance of the loan would come due. She accepted the terms and signed the contract in front of a notary. As each payment date came and went, no mention was made of the loan. Finally, almost 1 year after the first payment was due, I emailed her asking what her intentions were. I told her that even though she was in default, I would still accept installments. She ignored me. I continued to politely press. Finally, she answered with an attack on me, my character, and my parenting. She ranted that the loan was illegitimate and stated she had no intention of paying anything. I got a lawyer, sued her, and won a judgment against her. She still refused to pay. I did not want to go to a collection agency. I just wanted her to pay or be honest with me and tell me why she couldn't. She ignored me. I threatened to send her debt to a collections agency. At that, she sent me what I thought was an honest message. She apologized, acknowledged that she owed me, and she laid out a dire financial situation, asking for permission to make small payments. At that time, all I wanted was peace, and I didn't really need the money. I'm not rich, but my wife and I pay our way and have small savings. This wasn't money we were relying on for survival. I was happy that she apologized, something I'd only seen her do once in the 20 years I'd known her. I said, you know what, forget it. Whatever you were going to give me, spend it on the kids, it's over. She was very grateful. Within 1 month, she bought herself a new car. I was incensed. I couldn't afford a new car. That same morning, I hired a collections agency to recover the debt. Within a week, they had sent her HR department a notice that they were going to garnish her paycheck. At this time, my ex was in a fiduciary position. Having her pay garnished might have cost her her job. I didn't care. I was on the warpath. Then I got a FedEx letter with my ex-wife's legal declaration of bankruptcy. I was named as a creditor. I called the collections agency and asked what the next move was. There is no next move. That's it, they said. She's declared bankruptcy. There's nothing we can do. I hung up with them and called the lawyer who had represented me in the suit. He agreed to represent me in the bankruptcy. He did his research and learned that loans for the purpose of education are not dischargeable. Since this loan was for school tuition payments, that would fall in that category. Her lawyer denied this. See you in court, we said. Being named as a creditor allowed me to see the terms of her bankruptcy. She and her husband owed more than $500,000 to the IRS. Tax cheat. They also were way upside down on their McMansion and had defaulted on their home loan. They owed over $1 million. She represented to the court that she and her husband were divorced, not true, and that she didn't earn enough on her own to pay her debts. There were about 15 other creditors named, but I was the only one who showed up to court. My lawyer advised the court that her debt to me was educational in nature and should be considered non-dischargeable. He also advised the clerk of the court that my ex was not divorced and was currently married to and cohabiting with her husband. The court adjourned and I waited a few days. I got a FedEx letter telling me that her petition for bankruptcy had been denied. The court found that because she was married, she and her husband earned too much to qualify for bankruptcy, so her entire bankruptcy got tossed. I got an email from my lawyer with a message from her lawyer attached. It said, "How much does he want to back off? She's intending to refile for bankruptcy, and she doesn't want him to screw it up for her again." I agreed to accept a lump sum payment of $10,000. I signed a document agreeing not to interfere with any future bankruptcy proceedings. I got a cashier's check in the mail a week later. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Zackle74. It says, "So you gave her $4,000 and whatever the interest would have been, and in return, you got a crap ton of headache that lasted how long now? And how much of that $10,000 went to your lawyer? Did you mean she was the one that got revenge on you or something? This seems like a long way from a win." Another commenter down below called Mewtwo Struck Back says, "You signed a document stating you would not interfere with future bankruptcy proceedings. You didn't explicitly state you wouldn't let other creditors know to do so." OP did mention at one point during the story that they're not rich, but they didn't really need the money. So I think the whole going through the court process was just a matter of principle and making her have some consequences for her actions. I don't agree with the second commenter though. I'd say it's over now and OP's good to just walk away. This story comes to us from Bridge23UX. Got rude guy arrested for suspended license. In the mid-2000s, my friends and I would frequent a small billiards place in a neighboring town, where you could rent a table by the hour or play per game. We'd play a few games, watch whatever sports were on TV, and have casual conversations. There were no problems and no drama until about 3 months of us visiting this place. A guy shows and takes our spot at the billiards table. No big deal, we were all chatting anyway. 20 minutes later, my friend lets him know we want to play next game, and the jerk is super dismissive. Needless to say, we didn't get in during the next game, so I politely let him know we wanted to play next. Another lady chimed in, she wanted the game after us. The guy blatantly ignored me and the other woman. Some more time going by, and the guy leaves the table. We see our chance to get in. We put the quarters in and the balls are dispensed, except the green 6 ball. The guy took it to the bathroom with him. At this point, it was ridiculous and we notified the manager. The manager noted it was 12:30 and they were going to be calling last call and closing, so he didn't want to make a scene by kicking him out. He gets us another ball so we can play. The guy comes out of the bathroom and knows we realized what he did. He smirks and proceeds to the patio to have a cigarette, bringing his beer and the green billiard ball. The guy comes back in and tossed the ball he was holding onto the table, hitting a few balls on the table and messing up our game. He goes up to the bar just in time for last call. One of the friends I was with suggested we follow him home and each call the highway patrol to report a suspected drunk driver. 3 of 4 of us agree. So when he leaves, we used our trusty Nextel push-to-talk phones and coordinated several calls to the police. We provided details like license plate, vehicle make and model and color, and mentioned the car nearly hit another vehicle, was swerving between lines and driving erratically. This was under a 15-minute plan. We had no idea where the guy lived, but suspected it was close as he was visiting a neighborhood place, so our time was limited. The one guy who didn't notify the police tailed the jerk and called us giddy when a police officer pulled between him and the guy and turned on his lights to pull him over. The police blotter that week included an arrest of a guy who was pulled over after multiple calls of erratic driving. He wasn't arrested for DWI, but instead for driving on a suspended license. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Anonymous Bosch. It says, "Sounds like he got what he deserved, but you essentially swatted the guy just for being a jerk. You are the bigger butthole." When I was quite a bit younger, I used to hang out at a billiard club myself, and it was a question of if you wanted a table but somebody was on it, you would ask to play them for the table, and if you won, it was your table afterwards. I do feel like they took it a little bit too far in this one, but then again, we are in the ProRevenge subreddit, so I guess these things happen. This story comes to us from Zorgalacticus. Landlord got exactly what they deserved. Our last landlord we had before buying our house wouldn't fix anything. Wouldn't take it off my rent if I fixed it myself either. So I fixed stuff that needed fixing just so I could live there. They inspected the house right before we moved out and informed us that they were keeping all of the deposit despite all of the things we'd fixed. We had documented everything, including receipts, so we unfixed everything. Took the new faucet and put the broken one back on. Put the leaky valve back on the toilet. Took out the water line we installed for the refrigerator. Just removed the whole line and soldered a coupling onto the pipe. Took the locks off the shed, broke the latch on the gate so it was flapping in the wind like it was when we moved in. Lots of other little stuff. It helped that I still had all that stuff in a box in the shed. They tried to sue us for damages. We had receipts and pictures, so there was nothing they could do about it. The house actually was still in better shape than when we moved in. They lost that case, and we countersued them. We won, and the judge ordered them to pay us back our deposit, plus court costs and lawyer fees. I'm sure their lawyer fees, their court costs, plus ours as well, amounted to much more than the deposit they were trying to keep. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called AXCXMX. It says, "Congratulations on actually taking it back. I don't understand why so many people are hell-bent on keeping money that isn't theirs." Another commenter down below called Chico Broadway said, "It was very dumb of them to tell you that you weren't getting the deposit back before you moved out. I hate that the inept get all the mortgages. Glad you kept your receipts." So just like we say for all of the workplace stories we do, it kind of goes the same here. Document, document, document. Anything that's wrong in a place that you're renting, photographs, maybe even video, document everything. Because you never know if you're going to need to use that again to get back at the lawyer in the future, like OP did in this story right here. Did you know every Karma Stories video is also produced in podcast form? You can search for Karma Stories on every major podcasting platform. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.